My name is Madeline Foster, 28 years old, and 3 days ago I came home early from a construction site and found my fiancé in bed with my younger sister. I need to get this out somewhere, because if I keep replaying it in my own head, I think I am going to lose my mind. I work as a civil construction project manager, mostly industrial foundations, concrete pours, utility upgrades, the kind of job where you come home with dust on your boots and your shoulders aching, but at least the work is honest. My dad owns a construction company, and I have been around job sites since I was 18. I built a decent life for myself. A newer apartment, a reliable truck, savings, a wedding coming up. At 28, I thought I had my future figured out. Ethan and I had been together for 3 years, engaged for 8 months. He was a surgical nurse, smart, gentle when he wanted to be, ambitious in a quiet way that made people trust him. We met at my brother Mason's birthday party. Ethan had shown up with a friend from the hospital, and somehow we ended up talking in the kitchen for nearly 2 hours while everyone else played drinking games in the living room. I proposed to him last winter at the lake where we had our first date. He cried. I cried. It felt perfect. My family loved him. My mother was already planning the wedding like she had been waiting years to finally have a son-in-law she could show off. My dad kept joking about grandkids. Mason liked him. And my younger sister Delaney, 26, a bartender at a downtown gastropub, always said Ethan was too good for me in that joking but not really joking way sisters sometimes do. I should have heard the warning in it. 3 days ago, we finished pouring a foundation ahead of schedule in the Northern Industrial District, and my supervisor sent everyone home at 2. I was in a good mood. I figured I would surprise Ethan, maybe grab takeout, spend the afternoon together before he had to leave for his evening shift at the hospital. I pulled into my apartment complex at 2:30 and saw Ethan's car in the lot. Normal. He had Tuesdays off. The door was unlocked. Also normal. Ethan had a key. I walked in and heard something from the bedroom. My bedroom. At first, I thought he was watching TV, but the sound was wrong. Low voices. Movement. A laugh cut off too quickly. I opened the door. Delaney was in my bed with my fiancé. I did not scream. I did not throw anything. I just stood there for maybe 5 seconds, long enough for my brain to understand that what I was seeing was real. Ethan scrambled back, grabbing the sheet. Delaney started stammering something, but I honestly cannot remember the words. They did not matter. Get out, I said. Both of you. Now. My voice was flat. Cold. Dead. Ethan tried to stand, pulling on his clothes. Madeline, listen, You have 10 minutes to get out of my apartment, I said. If you are still here after that, I am calling the cops. Delaney finally spoke. Her voice was small, like she was the one who had been hurt. Please, let me explain. I looked at her. Really looked. My little sister. The girl whose rent I had covered twice. The girl I had picked up drunk from bars because she was scared Dad would find out. The girl who had helped me choose wedding flowers. Don't, I said. Just go. Ethan reached for my arm. I stepped back like his hand was fire. They left in 8 minutes. Delaney kept crying. Ethan kept trying to talk. I did not answer. I just stood in the living room with my arms crossed, staring at the wall until the door finally closed behind them. Then I sat on the couch. I did not cry. Not yet. I just sat there feeling like my chest had caved in and someone had forgotten to tell the rest of my body how to keep breathing. An hour later, I texted Ethan. Engagement is off. Do not contact me again. Then I called Delaney. She picked up on the first ring, already sobbing. I'm so sorry, she said. I don't know what happened. You're dead to me, I said. Then I hung up. I blocked Ethan everywhere. Phone, email, every social account. I deleted photos, took the engagement ring from the nightstand where Ethan had left it, and threw it into a drawer because I could not look at it without wanting to break something. Then I called my parents. My mother answered, cheerful at first. I told her what happened in the same calm, factual voice I use when reporting a site accident. She gasped, started crying, and put my father on speaker. I repeated it. My father's voice went hard. "That is unforgivable," he said. "Delaney is going to hear from me." I believed him. Then I called Mason. He worked nights at the hospital, but he was awake. When I told him, he said, "I'm coming over right now." He did. Brought pizza and beer. Sat with me for 4 hours. He did not make excuses for Delaney. Did not tell me to forgive anyone. Just stayed. For 2 weeks, I thought I had my family. My dad called Delaney and tore into her. Mason told me he had never heard him that angry. My mom sent daily texts. "We love you. We are here for you. Take all the time you need." I started to believe I would survive this. Then, 2 weeks after everything imploded, I stopped by my parents' house to drop off some tools my dad had lent me. I was walking toward the garage when I heard my mother's voice through the kitchen window. "Delaney, sweetheart, I know you're hurting too. You're still my daughter. We will work through this as a family." I froze in the driveway, tools in my hands. She was crying, comforting her, as if Delaney had been wounded too. I left the tools on the driveway and drove home without knocking. That was when I realized this was not over. Not even close. The next family dinner invitation came 3 days later, Sunday lunch at my parents' house. Same tradition, since I was a kid. My mother would make too much food. My father would ask about job sites, like he was still teaching me things I already knew. And Mason would steal rolls before dinner like he had not been a grown man for years. Before everything happened, those lunches had felt like routine. Afterward, they felt like a test I had not agreed to take. I ignored the text. My mother called an hour later. "Madeline, honey, we miss you," she said, her voice soft and careful. "Please come Sunday, just for lunch." "Is Delaney going to be there?" Silence. That was my answer. "We're still her parents," my mother finally said. "We can't just cut her off." "Watch me," I said. Then I hung up. My father tried next. He called from the construction office, using the reasonable voice he used with difficult clients who wanted impossible changes after concrete had already been poured. "Madeline, what Delaney did was wrong. Nobody is disputing that." "Then why is Mom comforting her like she's the victim? She's your sister." "She slept with my fiancé. She made a mistake." "A mistake is forgetting to pick up milk. She didn't trip and fall into bed with Ethan." "Don't be crude." I laughed once bitterly. "That's what bothers you? The wording?" He sighed. "I'm not asking you to forgive her tomorrow, but eventually you're going to have to move past this for the family." There it was, for the family. That magical phrase people use when they want the injured person to make everyone else comfortable again. "Why is it always on me to move past things?" I asked. "Why doesn't she have to earn anything back?" "Because you're the older one. You've always been more mature. That's why I need you to be the bigger person here." I stared at my kitchen wall, at the small crack in the paint near the window I had been meaning to fix for months. "Right," I said quietly. "Got it." After that, I stopped going to family events. I focused on work, picked up extra projects, stayed late on sites even when I did not need to. Concrete, steel, and schedules made sense. If something failed, we investigated the cause. We did not ask the cracked beam to forgive the weight that broke it. At home, I ate frozen dinners, showered, went to bed, and repeated the next day. Mason checked on me often. He was the only one who still sounded angry on my behalf. Then, 2 months after the betrayal, Mason called me at 11 p.m. I knew from his voice that something was wrong. "I need to tell you something," he said, "and you're going to hate it." My stomach dropped. "What?" "Delaney and Ethan are dating." For a second, my apartment went completely silent. Even the hum of the refrigerator seemed to disappear. "Officially?" I asked. "Yeah." "How long?" "I don't know. A few weeks, maybe. I found out tonight." "How?" He hesitated. "Mason." "They were at dinner at Mom and Dad's house." I closed my eyes. "Of course. And nobody thought to tell me. Mom said they didn't want to upset you, said you were healing and this would set you back. I wanted to put my fist through the wall. Instead, I sat very still on the edge of my bed, phone pressed to my ear, jaw locked so tight it hurt. Thanks for telling me, I said. I'm sorry, Maddie. I know. I hung up before he could say anything else. The next morning I showed up at my parents' house unannounced. They were on the back porch drinking coffee like retirement catalog models, sunlight on the table, my mother in a cardigan, my father reading something on his tablet. You're letting them date? I said. No greeting, no preamble. My mother's face went pale. Sweetheart, answer the question. My father set down his mug. We're not letting anyone do anything, they're adults. But you can control whether they are welcome in your house? My mother stood, tears already gathering. We are trying to keep this family together. No, I said, you are trying to keep Delaney comfortable. I won't choose between my daughters. You already did. She flinched like I had slapped her. I left before she could respond. Thanksgiving came next. I had no intention of going, but Mason begged. Not casually, not with pressure. He called me after a night shift, voice raw, and said he barely saw me anymore, that he missed me, that I did not have to stay long. Against every instinct I had, I went. I walked into my parents' house at 4 p.m. The smell of turkey hit me first. Then the sound of football on the TV. Normal, familiar, dangerous because it still knew how to pretend it was home. Then I stepped into the dining room. Delaney sat at the table. Beside her, holding her hand, was Ethan. Nobody had told me they would be there. Every eye turned toward me. My mother's face looked hopeful, like she thought proximity could perform a miracle. My father looked tense. Mason sat on the love seat, guilt written all over him. I did not say a word. I turned around, grabbed my coat, and walked out. My mother called my name behind me. I kept walking. Nobody followed me to the car. December arrived cold and gray. I worked through Christmas Eve and told my family I had a project deadline. I did not, but they had lost the right to know the difference. Christmas morning, Mason texted. Please come tonight, just for a few hours. Do it for me. I stared at that message for 20 minutes. Mason had been the only one who did not make excuses for Delaney. The only one who seemed to understand that what happened had not just broken my engagement. It had cracked the entire foundation of what I thought family meant. So I went. I showed up at 7. The house was lit up like a department store. Cars filled the driveway. My parents, Mason, my aunt and uncle. Delaney's car. And another car I did not recognize, but instantly hated. I almost left right then. I should have. Inside, Christmas music played softly. My mother saw me first and rushed over. Oh, sweetheart, she said. I'm so glad you came. She hugged me. I barely hugged back. Then I saw the living room. Delaney and Ethan were sitting together on the couch. My father stood near the fireplace. Mason sat on the love seat, looking sick. My aunt and uncle watched me like they were waiting for a scene. My mother stepped back, hands on my shoulders, tears in her eyes. This is what Christmas is about, she said. Family, forgiveness, being together. I looked around at every face staring at me like I was supposed to perform healing on command. You ambushed me, I said quietly. No, honey, we just thought... You ambushed me. My father spoke up. Madeline, we can't keep doing this. We're a family. It's time to move forward. Something inside me went cold, perfectly still. You're right, I said. It is time to move forward. I grabbed my coat. My mother caught my arm. Please don't do this to us. I gently pulled free and looked her in the eye. I'm not doing anything, I said. You did this. Then I walked out into the December cold. That night, I made a list. A real, physical list of everything tying me to the city. My lease, my job, my accounts, my phone number, my family's access to me. By New Year's, I had applied for a transfer to Indianapolis. By February, I was packing. By March, I was gone. Indianapolis did not fix me overnight. People act like leaving is the hard part, but sometimes leaving is clean compared to what comes after. The first weeks in the new city felt like walking around inside someone else's life. New apartment, new grocery store, new office, new routes to work. No one knew my family. No one knew Ethan's name. No one knew Delaney existed. At first, that silence felt strange. Then it started to feel like oxygen. I blocked everyone before I crossed the city line. My parents, Delaney, Ethan, every aunt and uncle who had sent polite little messages about healing and forgiveness. I changed my number, deleted my social media, and told HR not to forward personal calls. Mason was the only person I hesitated over. He had been there at the beginning. He had brought pizza and beer and rage when I needed someone to be angry with me. But he had also begged me into Thanksgiving and Christmas, and both times I had walked into traps, so I blocked him too. For 3 months, no one reached me. I built routines because routines do not ask questions. I ran in the mornings before work, even when the air burned my lungs. I went to the gym after site visits. I learned the names of the cashiers at the nearest grocery store. I bought a cheap dining table and assembled it badly, then fixed it properly because I could not stand the wobble. I went on a few dates. Nothing serious, just enough to remember I was still a woman someone could look at without pity. Then, one Tuesday in June, my phone rang from an unknown number. I almost let it go. Something made me answer. "Hello, Madeline? It's Felicity. Please don't hang up." My cousin Felicity was older, mid-30s, and had always existed slightly outside the family drama. We had been close as kids, then drifted into adult distance. She lived across the state, far enough that she had missed most holidays, close enough that she had probably heard everything. "What do you want?" I asked. "Just to talk. I heard what happened, and I'm not calling for them, I swear. I just want to check on you." I said nothing. "Can we meet for coffee?" she asked. "Just me. If anyone else shows up, you can walk away." I should have said no, but loneliness is dangerous because it wears the face of hope. "Fine," I said. "But if this is a setup, you never get another chance." Deal. We met the following Saturday at a coffee shop near my apartment. I got there 15 minutes early, checked the parking lot twice, picked a seat where I could see both doors. Paranoid, maybe, but I had learned paranoia was sometimes just experience wearing armor. Felicity arrived alone. She saw me, smiled carefully, and approached with both hands visible, like she knew I was one wrong movement away from leaving. We talked for 2 hours. She did not make excuses for anyone, did not ask me to forgive, did not say my mother missed me or my father was hurting or Delaney felt terrible. She asked about Indianapolis, asked if I liked my job, asked if I was sleeping. "I'm okay," I said finally. She looked at me, really looked. "I'm glad. You deserve to be." When we left, she hugged me once, briefly. "Take care of yourself, and if you ever want coffee again, I'm around." I drove home feeling lighter than I had in months. A week later, I met Austin. I had started running at a community park near my apartment, 3 miles every morning before work. That Sunday, I was cooling down by the pavilion when I saw a man struggling with a folding table for some kind of volunteer event. He had dark hair, rolled-up sleeves, and the calm frustration of someone who had already tried the obvious solution twice. "Need a hand?" I asked. He looked up and smiled. "Please, this thing hates me." I locked the table into place in 30 seconds. He laughed. "Show off." "Years of construction work," I said. "I've fought worse." His name was Austin Hayes. He was a therapist and volunteered at a youth center on weekends. They were hosting a community cookout. He had warm brown eyes, a quiet voice, and a way of listening that did not feel like waiting for his turn to speak. I helped with the rest of the tables. By the time the cookout started, he had my number. Our first date was 3 days later, at a quiet Italian restaurant. He asked about my work. I asked about his. No games, no pushing, no forced vulnerability. By the third date, I told him everything. Ethan, Delaney, my parents, Thanksgiving, Christmas, the move. Austin listened without interrupting. When I finished, he reached across the table and squeezed my hand. "That's brutal," he said. "I'm sorry you went through that. No overdone pity. No lecture about forgiveness. Just acknowledgement. I fell a little bit in love with him right then. 2 months into dating Austin, Felicity called again. "My birthday is coming up," she said. "Small dinner. Just close friends. Low key. You should come." I hesitated. She heard it. "Nobody from the family. I promise." Austin was beside me on the couch. I muted the phone and told him. "Do you trust her?" he asked. "I think so." "Then go. But if anything feels wrong, leave." So I agreed. The restaurant was downtown, private room in the back. Felicity texted me the number. I walked in, scanning for red flags. Then I saw them. My mother, my father, Mason, Delaney, Ethan, all sitting around the birthday table. Felicity stood near the doorway, looking guilty and hopeful at the same time, like she had convinced herself betrayal could be kindness if the intention was soft enough. My father stood. "Madeline, we need to talk." I did not sit. "What is this?" My mother rose too. "Please, sweetheart, just sit down. Let's talk like a family." "You ambushed me again." My father stepped closer. "You need to stop running. We're your family." "Which daughter are you talking to?" I asked. "Because it seems like you already chose one." Delaney whispered my name. "Don't," I said, without looking at her. Then my father put his hand on my shoulder. Firm, almost like he was trying to hold me in place. "Stop being so selfish," he said. "This is tearing your mother apart." Something snapped. I shoved his hand off me. He pushed back harder. My fist connected with his jaw before I fully realized I had moved. The room exploded. My mother screamed. Mason jumped up, yelling my name. Delaney started crying. Ethan stepped forward, then stopped when I looked at him. I did not apologize. I walked out, my knuckles already swelling by the time I reached the parking lot. I drove straight to Austin's place. He opened the door, saw my face, and pulled me inside without asking for the story first. I told him everything from his couch, shaking not from fear but rage. When I finished, he wrapped his arms around me. "You did what you had to do," he said quietly. That night, I blocked them all again. New number, new email, every channel gone. This time, I meant it. For the first 3 months in Indianapolis, no one found me. That sounds simple. But after months of being cornered, pleaded with, lied to, and ambushed, silence felt almost unreal. I kept waiting for a knock at the door, a strange car in the parking lot, a text from a number I did not recognize. But there was nothing. Just work, morning runs, grocery trips, and the slow rebuilding of a life that had stopped revolving around other people's damage. I found a community park near my apartment and started running there every morning before work. 3 miles, same loop. Headphones in, no conversations. The first week, I could barely make it past the 2nd mile without stopping. By the 2nd month, I was running the whole loop without checking the distance. I liked that. Measurable progress. Effort in, result out. Clean. Honest. Then Felicity called. My cousin had always lived on the edge of the family, close enough to know things, distant enough not to be fully swallowed by them. She said she was not calling for my parents. She swore no one had asked her to reach out. She just wanted to know if I was okay. I did not trust her, but loneliness can make even a locked door feel heavy. We met for coffee, and she came alone. No ambush, no emotional trap, no one hiding in the parking lot. For 2 hours, she asked about Indianapolis, my job, my apartment, whether I was sleeping. She never said Delaney's name, never said Ethan's, never asked me to forgive. When she hugged me goodbye, it felt almost safe. That was what made the next betrayal worse. A week later, I met Austin Hayes. I was cooling down near the park pavilion when I saw him fighting with a folding table that refused to lock. He was setting up for a youth center cookout, sleeves rolled up, sweat on his forehead, looking more amused than annoyed by the table's stubbornness. "Need a hand?" I asked. He looked up and smiled, desperately. "I fixed it in 30 seconds. He laughed. "Show off." "Construction work," I said. "I've fought worse." Austin was a therapist, which would have made me wary if he had acted like one on purpose. But he did not dissect me. He did not ask leading questions or stare like I was a case study. He just talked. About the youth center. About terrible coffee. About how half the folding tables in the city had probably formed a union against him. We went on our first date 3 days later. Dinner at a quiet Italian place. He asked about my work. I asked about his. Nothing forced. Nothing performative. By the third date, I told him everything. Delaney. Ethan. Thanksgiving. Christmas. The move. I braced for pity. Instead, he reached across the table and squeezed my hand. "That's brutal," he said. "I'm sorry you went through that." That was it. No lecture about forgiveness. No warning that bitterness would poison me. Just acknowledgement. I fell a little bit in love with him right then. 2 months into dating Austin, Felicity called again. Her birthday was coming up, she said. Small dinner. Just close friends. Low key. She wanted me there. I hesitated. Nobody from the family, she promised. Scout's honor. Austin was beside me on the couch when I muted the phone and told him, "Do you trust her?" he asked. "I think so." "Then go," he said. "But the second anything feels off, leave." The restaurant was downtown, private room in the back. I arrived early and scanned the lot before going in. Old habits. I opened the door and stopped. My mother, my father, Mason, Delaney, Ethan, all sitting around the table. Felicity stood near the doorway, looking caught between guilt and hope, like she had convinced herself this was healing instead of another betrayal. My father stood. "Madeline, we need to talk." I did not move. "What is this?" My mother rose too, eyes already wet. "Please, sweetheart, just sit down. Let's talk like a family." "You ambushed me again." My father stepped toward me. "You need to stop running." "I moved away because you kept dragging me into rooms with the people who hurt me." Delaney whispered, "Maddie, please. Do not call me that." Ethan stared at the table. Coward then, coward now. My father's face hardened. "This is tearing your mother apart." I looked at her. Then maybe she should have thought about that before using Christmas as a trap. He came closer and put his hand on my shoulder. Firm. Almost aggressive. "Stop being selfish!" Something snapped. I shoved his hand off me. He shoved back harder. My fist connected with his jaw before I fully understood I had moved. The room exploded. My mother screamed. Mason shouted my name. Delaney started crying. Ethan stood halfway, then sat back down when I looked at him. I walked out without apologizing. My knuckles were swelling by the time I reached my car. I drove straight to Austin's place. He opened the door, saw my face, and pulled me inside without asking questions. I told him everything, while shaking on his couch, not from fear, but from rage. When I finished, he wrapped his arms around me. "You did what you had to do," he said quietly. That night, I blocked everyone again. Felicity, too. New number, new email, every connection cut. 6 months passed. Austin and I moved in together. I got promoted. I started sleeping through the night again. Then one random Tuesday, while Austin cooked dinner, a notification popped up on my phone. A local wedding announcement. Delaney Foster and Ethan Chen married Saturday, October 14th. There they were in the photo. Ethan in a suit, Delaney in white. Both smiling like the story had always belonged to them. Austin looked over my shoulder. How do you feel? I waited for anger, pain, anything. Nothing came. I don't care, I said, and I meant it. Life moved forward after that. Austin and I fell into a rhythm that felt almost strange because it was so peaceful. He left early for his practice. I went to whichever site needed me that day. We came home, cooked dinner, watched bad reality TV, and went to bed without anyone demanding forgiveness from me like it was a family tax. Then the letters started. First, my mother sent handwritten envelopes to my workplace. I threw them away unopened. Then my father sent one. Then, Mason. I reported it to HR as harassment, and HR sent a cease and desist letter to my parents' address. The letters stopped, but burner emails came next. My mother's rambling apologies, my father's reasonable tone, Mason's careful, guilty messages. I filtered all of it into trash. For a year and a half, there was quiet. Austin and I adopted a dog, a mixed-breed rescue named Copper. I got promoted to senior project manager. Austin opened his own practice. We talked about a house, kids, a future that did not feel like a trap. Then Troy, an old coworker from my previous city, called. He had run into Mason at a bar. Mason gave him a letter for me. I told Troy not to send it, but he already had. The envelope arrived 4 days later. I left it on the table for 3 days before opening it. Mason's letter was short. He did not ask for forgiveness. He admitted he had participated in ambushing me twice. He said he chose family comfort over doing the right thing. He said I deserved better from him. He said he had gone low contact with our parents and barely saw Delaney. There was no return address. I put the letter in a drawer and did not respond. 2 months later, Mason texted my work phone. Is it okay if I text occasionally? I won't mention them. Just want to know you're alive. Against my better judgment, I replied. Fine. Boundaries stay. For a while, he respected them. Once a month, maybe less. Surface things. Work. Weather. Copper doing something ridiculous. Nothing deep. Meanwhile, Austin proposed at the park where we met, right beside the pavilion with the folding table. I said yes before he finished asking. 4 months later, I stood in our bathroom holding a positive pregnancy test. Austin cried before I did. This is our family now, he whispered. 6 months into the pregnancy, I legally changed my last name to Hayes. No more carrying a name tied to people who chose betrayal over me. My son would carry a name built on love, not obligation. Then Mason asked to meet face to face. We met at a public park. He looked thinner, tired, older somehow. He apologized again, this time looking me in the eye. He said therapy helped him understand how wrong he had been. He did not ask for forgiveness. That mattered. So I allowed occasional contact again. 3 weeks before my due date, he invited Austin and me to dinner at his apartment. He said he wanted to celebrate the engagement and baby, just us. I wanted to believe him. Austin said, if anything feels wrong, we leave. We went. Mason opened the door. Behind him, in the living room, sat my mother, Delaney, and Ethan. Time stopped. Mason's face crumbled. Please, just listen for 5 minutes. I took Austin's hand. We're leaving. My mother stood. Her eyes dropped immediately to my stomach. You're having a baby? And you didn't even tell us? I looked at her. I don't have a mother anymore. Delaney started crying. Ethan looked away. Mason followed us to the door, pleading, but I did not stop. That night, I sent Mason one final message. You had one chance. You blew it. Don't contact me again. Then I blocked him. 3 weeks later, at 3:36 p.m., my son was born, Bennett Hayes. 7 pounds, 6 ounces. Austin's nose, my stubborn chin, tiny fists curled like he was already prepared to fight the world. When the nurse placed him in my arms, everything else became noise. We married when Bennett was 4 months old. Small ceremony. Botanical garden. Austin's parents, his sister, a few close friends. No drama. No ghosts. Just honest vows. Our son making little noises in Austin's mother's arms while everyone laughed. 6 months later, my father showed up at my workplace. Security called first. I met him at the gate, but did not step outside. He looked older, grayer, smaller. I was wrong, he said, about everything. I chose keeping peace over doing right. I'm sorry. I waited. He said he and my mother had separated. He said he was proud of the life I built. He said he wanted to meet his grandson. No, I said. His face broke. Please. I forgive you, I told him, but I don't want you in my life. You do not get access to my son because we share DNA. He cried then. I had never seen him cry before. I understand, he whispered. Goodbye, I said. And I walked back to work. Now I am sitting on my porch on a Sunday morning. Austin is inside making breakfast. Bennett is too, babbling at him in that half-language toddlers invent. Copper is asleep at my feet. My name is Hayes. My son's name is Hayes. This is my family now. Not the people who share blood and call it loyalty. The people who show up. The people who protect peace. The people who choose you when it matters. I do not regret cutting them off. Walking away gave me this, and I have never been more certain of anything in my life.